What's up, my friend? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're taking a look at the new library from musical sampling called HOARD Picked Acoustic. And so I really wanted to take a look at this library because I do have quite a few guitar libraries. I'm not a guitar player by any means. I literally can only remember how to play a G major chord. But aside from that, a lot of guitar libraries are overcomplicated. They have good scripting and good samples, but it's kind of difficult to learn how they actually work, and literally just to load them up and play sometimes takes even longer than you would like. And one thing I really like about musical sampling libraries is just the underlying simplicity and philosophy that goes on behind the scenes. Aaron does a lot of great work hiring really good musicians, creating great demos, and just understanding what people really want in a sample library. And so when this came out, I was browsing on VI Control, and this is the first thing I saw. And I was like, okay, I have to get my hands on this. So big thanks to Aaron for sending me a copy. And we're also going to do a giveaway at the very end. So big thanks again for sharing a giveaway copy as well. So stick around for those details at the very end of this video. So let's kind of get into the details of this library a little bit. So you have the Picked Acoustic here. It's $69 intro price, and after October 30th, it's going to be $99. And here are your different patches. So you have the master legato main. You also have a muted legato, which is kind of a little bonus. You have performance sustains, so you have polyphonic sustains, and you have the legato patch. Then you have harmonics, muted sustains, guitar percussion, chugs, scrapes, and slaps, chord fret noises, room breath and movement, and tuned and doubler variations. So these ones specifically, the guitar percussion all the way down to the room breath and movement, these are kind of meant for the subtle nuances to create a really realistic lifelike performance, whereas these first few patches are meant to actually produce the tonal elements of the patches, of the notes. And then they tell us a bit about the features and then the specifications, that is meant for the full version of Kontakt and does not work for the free Kontakt player, just under 3 gigabytes large, and you download it via Pulse. Then Aaron tells us a little bit about the library itself, and I like that he kind of goes over each of the patches and tells us what they're about. And I also appreciate that he shares a bit about the musician as well, kind of giving the credit where it's due, just to help us learn a bit more about the performer himself or herself. And there we go. So let's get into the library itself. Here we are inside of Kontakt, and you can see here in terms of the instruments, we have these 9 different patches. The first few, again, are the plucks, the legatos and stuff, the sustains, and then after that we have some of the chugs and the sounds and the breaths and stuff like that. So let me go through these patches, and let me start playing the legato first. Okay, so just to quickly share, there are 3 legato types included within this single master patch, which is really nice. So at the very lowest velocity, we get a slide into the next note. Then in the middle velocities around, I think it's 40 to 90, you get the typical transition. And then at the very highest dynamic, or the very highest velocity, I should say, let me quickly check what he says here. So let's kind of go down here. So yeah, velocities 91 to 127 activate the hammer on pull off articulation up to a major second. So let me play that a little bit. Right, so you hear that a little bit more. And then at the standard velocity, that's just the natural plucked legato articulation, so the bread and butter used for most purposes. Okay, cool. So aside from a major second, then after that you get those 2 regular legato types. Really cool. So you can see the scripting that goes on behind the scenes, but notice how simple the overall GUI is. You really only just have the one knob to control reverb. So if we turn it all the way down, it's going to sound relatively dry. And then let's turn the reverb all the way up. Yeah, so if you want the reverberance, I think somewhere between 30 to 40 or 50 is probably the best on this knob. If you go to 100, it sounds completely washed out, and 0, it's completely dry. So just find that sweet spot for your own productions. Cool. Okay, now we hear some of these sustains. So let's go. Very pretty. All right, let's hear these harmonics. Okay, and then here's the muted legato. So this is really cool. Basically, the first note is going to be a muted note, but then the subsequent note cuts off a little bit. So it's literally like they play the secondary note, and then they just end off the performance after half a second. So let's play this a bit. Right, so that very last note that you play, if you hold it longer than half a second or a second, it's going to cut off. I think personally I would have liked it if that last note held a little bit longer, but you know, that is what it is with this patch. Then we get the muted sustains. So if you do want to maybe have the muted legato line, and if you want to hold that last note longer, then you can just add in the muted sustains note by itself. Or you can let go of the previous note, like before the last note, the penultimate note, and then just trigger that very last note so it's not played legato, and that note will then sustain like that, you know? So anyway, let's hear some of these muted sustains. But yeah, obviously due to the nature of the patch, you have the sustain, and because it's muted, they are going to let go of the note a bit sooner. So you can just kind of decide on the length of the short. If you want to go with the full legato line or the full polyphonic patch sustains, then you might as well do that. I think the muted sustains are really good to add that realism if you want just a natural cutoff of the note without you having to worry about the muting yourself. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's go to these other patches now. So let's hear some of the guitar percussion. Okay, let's hear the chugs, scrapes, and slaps here. Okay, then we get the fret noises. You get a whole bunch of these here. All right, and finally we get the room, breath, and movement. Right, so it's really cool. You can tell this library was meant for more of those intimate purposes. It's not really meant for a big scoring hall sound. The overall detail in the sound really presents it as more of an intimate, upfront sort of mixed instrument, you know? So if you have a soloist guitar that you're trying to feature, then this sort of library would work really well. Especially, you know, since you have those lead lines that can be handled by the legato patches, that's also a really cool feature. And then having the polyphonic sustains in the back allows you to create this nice accompaniment pattern if you want to do that. And then again, having the subtle nuances in the room, breath, and movement, the chugs and the fret noises. If you're a guitarist, then you know you might not always be able to plug in your guitar to record your instrument. Sometimes maybe you're on the road and you don't have the equipment. If you have a library like this, then you can simulate a pretty real performance. And you know, I think but yeah, there's a lot of versatility here, but it's so cool how he can pack so much stuff in such a compact, simple library. And again, I can imagine just all the work that went into the scripting and just the overall patches. It feels very light. It feels very easy to use, and that's a big selling point for me in terms of the Atelier series, which he formerly called it, but now these sort of libraries that are more niche, small libraries that fill a very particular hole. They do a great job. So big thanks again to Aaron for sharing a copy. And if in case you're interested in winning a copy, let's get into the details of the giveaway. First thing you got to do is to fill out the form below in the description box. So just click that link there and share your details, and you'll be entered into the system. And I'll reach out in a couple of days to let you know who the winner is via email. The second thing you have to do is leave a comment below letting me know what you would want to win this library for, why you like this library, and how you would use it in your music. I'd love to always hear that. And number 3 is to simply leave a like on the video, which always helps, and it's greatly appreciated and definitely helps out the channel a little bit. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks again to Aaron for sharing a copy. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Good luck. Take care. Bye.